All right, we're here with Shot by Jordy, aka Jordy Hales, or Jordan Hales if you're in trouble. Welcome to the podcast, bro.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, all good. I'm excited to have you on because I've been a big fan of your work for a while. I'm not sure how I stumbled across it, but you know when you see those photographers and you really, I know, vibe their work and really appreciate what they're doing. So I've been watching for a while, and then I was like, I'll reach out and get you on the podcast and kind of just pick your brain about photography and being a photographer on the Gold Coast. So
Thanks, man. Thank you.
I just want to know, how did you get into photography in the first place? Like, what was the thing that drew you into it?
Oh man, so far out. How did I've always liked photography. Like I've always had sort of like a friend that has liked it or been into it, and I've always liked the idea of it. And then I actually started like a post-production little business. So I'd mainly with wedding photographers would send me catalogues, and I'd edit the weddings and then send them back to them. I was doing that, and then my partner was shooting a campaign, and I was like, oh, I'll video it just for a bit of fun, and I videoed it and on the camera, and that was kind of how I started going into using the camera more and like doing it. Did that, and they were like, oh yeah, we quite like that, and then I ended up shooting. Ended up taking photos from there. It ended up being like videoing to like videoed a couple little things for them, and then ended up just shooting.
So your fiance, she shoots as well?
No, she had a swimwear label with her sisters.
Oh, okay. So you were shooting that was her campaign, was a swimwear, and you kind of came along to. Were you like the prime shooter, or was there someone else and you were kind of like the B camera?
Nah. There was so like they had a photographer doing all the images, and I was just like, oh, I'll just try and do a video, little video campaign for fun, and that's kind of how it all started, really.
Because obviously your main thing now is photo.
Yeah.
Do you do really any video anymore? You've just kind of gone.
Not really. I don't really do any video. I like video, but I don't really do it. I guess like once you start you get booked for things, and what I share is mainly photos. So that is kind of.
Do you feel like you need that niche? Hey, like you got to pick one or the other.
Yeah.
It's hard to be perfect at both.
Yeah, and it's fun because it leaves like the video for doing things that I want to do. Like I started doing like little ASMR coffee videos, and they were on YouTube, and like so it leaves the video for doing more fun, like things that you want to do, and
Because I find that's one of the things that I find hard with photography. It's this balance between shooting what you want to shoot and how you want to shoot it. And then obviously having clients and customers that come in and say, I want this.
Yeah.
Do you find you kind of have like a conflict with yourself sometimes when you have a client come in or a brand and they say, we want this, but it kind of goes against your style or what you want to do?
I kind of am lucky enough. I don't feel like I get that often. Sometimes I get it with the edit. Sometimes, people are like, oh, I want the edit to be more like this or more like that. And for someone to like explain how they're trying to think about something, like, oh, but I want it to be more like this. And you kind of try and do it like that. And they're like, oh, not quite maybe. And so you kind of in like a constant little like, oh, try and do it more like,
Yeah.
But I think as a photographer and a creative, you've got to try and remember, I think that people often, they come to you because they like what you do. So usually they like it, I hope.
I do find that funny because I've had that before when you're coming to me because you like what I do, but then you're trying to tell me what you want in a way where it's like I try and do this more now where I take my hands off the wheel. And if you're getting someone to come and do something, it's like, I'm going to put that trust in you that you're going to deliver what I want because I've seen what you do.
Yeah.
And obviously you're going to have like a few little directions here and there, but kind of like take your hands off and go, do what you think is best, because then you can kind of run with that. And I think when a creative has that free reign to do what they actually think is best, that's normally when you create the best stuff.
Yeah.
When you're trying to fit into someone else's specifications of a shoot, then you kind of get I know it's that weird limbo between not doing exactly what you want and then trying to figure out them, and you kind of end up not doing anything perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you found yourself in that situation at times, and kind of like how you kind of got out of it?
I again, I think I've just been really lucky with who I work with. Like I haven't really had it happen a lot. And I think also maybe having the background of being a post-production editor first, like you're editing, you know, you might have 10 wedding photographers that you're servicing, each with a completely different like look, and you've got to switch off from your own, like what you like, to bring in what they like and create their images how they like them, to represent their style. So maybe it was having that background first leading into it. It made it easier to adjust a little bit with the brand.
Yeah, you weren't so
Maybe?
stuck on your thing.
Yeah, and like I'm talking like, you know, tiny, like if I've had that before, it's been like tiny little things, you know, like, and it's been things that are easy enough to fix, you know, like you might be doing an edit and because I shoot majority swim, so like the swim might just be off color just a little bit. It's like, yeah, it's just those little things that you got to try and fix up and be aware of. But I haven't really experienced where people were like unhappy with it yet. Touch wood.
Do you find as well, because obviously your niche is mainly swimwear, I guess that, do you shoot much other stuff? Because I know you pretty much just promote swimwear mainly on your profile. Do you shoot a lot of other stuff but you just don't promote it as much, or?
Not really. It is mainly just swim. Even when we do like creative shoots, it always kind of tends to go more towards being around water, swim, and like around that kind of world. I guess you could kind of say like, because, you know, like fashion, it kind of is on the lines, I guess, you know. Yeah. Sorry, what was the question?
Because you mainly, like, I just see you posting swimwear, but I was like wondering if there is many other like shoots that you do for other stuff, but you just don't post it as much. But
okay, not really. No, it is mainly swim. I do want to get into like wedding. I do like wedding photography, and I think it can be so cool as well. Wedding photography, just like real like timeless sort of stuff. But yeah, mainly swim. Mainly swim.
I think it's like at a wedding you can really create an emotion.
Yeah.
Through shooting it.
Yeah.
Because it is such a special moment.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool. And like, you know, it's someone's special day. It's fun. I find it quite fun. I've only done like maybe one or two, not many. I've got my second one next year, but it's quite fun. It's quite a bit of pressure because, you know, you've got like, you can't recreate all the things that you got to shoot. So it's like, it's quite fun. You've got one shot.
Kiss the bride again?
Yeah.
I didn't get it. My camera went flat.
Pause. Yeah, I was changing the battery.
It's actually funny that you say that, because I know most people that kind of get in photography, it's like weddings kind of come first. It's like weddings or real estate are kind of like the bread and butter of most photographers. And then they try and transition into like swimwear and all the rest. It's like you've almost done it backwards.
Yeah, it seems like the whole way that I've transitioned to this has been backwards, from like learning editing first and like and like, you know, composure and everything almost first, and then jumping behind the camera, and then, you know, but I don't want to do heaps of I want it to be like, you know, like no more than like 5 or 10 if I was to do them, and they just be like really quite cool kind of niche-y sort of weddings.
Yeah. Did you do like a school, uni, anything,
Nah,
or just
dude,
picked it up and just winged it?
Yeah. I don't even think I finished school. So, nah, dude.
I feel like you would know that if you finished or not.
Well, I know that like I did kind of all right in like my second to last year, and I had like quite a few credits for the next year. Back home we had like a credit system, so I think I had like but I don't think I finished the last year. I went, but for a couple days, but I don't think I finished it. I think I ended up dropping and making coffee.
So, okay, so let's go through. You dropped out of school. Well, you might have finished. We don't know. We can't confirm this.
I don't think I got my last year.
The fact that you don't know probably screams it didn't actually happen. I'm just going to put it out there. So, out of school, you've gone, making coffees.
Made coffee, yeah.
And then you've
Did
met
that
your
forever.
met your fiance.
Yeah.
And then because you guys work together, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did?
We
Because obviously
do.
she had a swimwear brand. I
Yeah.
obviously see how that's kind of transitioned you down that path.
Mm-hmm.
How was what was the relationship like with you two obviously meeting and then working together and then kind of building this brand?
So obviously she had her swimwear. I was doing my post-production editing. And then, you know, we're both quite creative people. She is, and she does a lot of like styling and art direction. So it was just like a cool space for us that, you know, she could have an idea and then I could kind of shoot it and bring it to life. And it's been really cool. It's really cool to be able to do that. Yeah.
Do you bounce off each other really well?
Heaps.
Yeah.
Heaps. And she's really good at like planning, mood boarding. You know, she has a really good like network. She's like, oh, this person could work great here, and she's really good at that sort of stuff.
Are you good at that, or you just kind of leave it?
I am not as good as her.
Yeah.
But I'm really lucky that she enjoys doing it. So even if, you know, if I'm doing it, she's always there in the background being like, oh, that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But that's what you want in a person. You want them to complement
man.
where you're lacking and kind of like lift you up in those places, and you can kind of focus on what you're good at and let them focus on what they're good at, and that they can kind of come together and work the way they do, then like why not do that?
Yeah, man. It makes it's fun. It's really cool. Very lucky.
Do you find as well, because I'd say she's organising most of these shoots, that would make the girls that you're obviously shooting feel more comfortable as well, having someone reach out that is a girl and kind of bridge that gap a little bit? Maybe
for sure. I mean, yeah, sometimes she reaches out through my page though, and sometimes it's through, you know, it's funny, like she kind of like runs my account more or less, just because I don't have time. Yeah, it's maybe though. You it could be right. And she's always with me on set. Sometimes our little baby comes on set too. She's been on a couple little shoots, which is pretty cool.
Whole family.
Yeah. But yeah, it might create like a really nice little, I mean, I think it's nice. I always have a good time. I know my partner always has a good time, and you know, at the end of it, the models always seem real stoked. So yeah, we definitely try and like just keep everyone as comfortable and happy and as possible.
I guess it's like that being able to make someone feel comfortable while you're doing something, because it can be like intimidating to some people. Like we talked about, even you coming on the podcast, it's like the camera gets
terrified.
It gets turned around on you, and like obviously when you're shooting, you're like it's chill, I'm fine, it's all going to be fine. But it's completely different when the camera's pointed on you and you've got to do certain things, and you might not know the person. Or so I've just found from when we've done shoots in the studio, if you've got a girl there that's kind of creative director or kind of taking care of what looks we're going for and whatever, the girls just seem a little bit more comfortable. And obviously we make them comfortable as well, and it's all fine. But having someone reach out, even if it is on your account, I guess once you get a certain name for yourself as well, it's kind of like you see how many people you've worked with, you've seen the brands you've worked with, and then the comfortability will go like, okay, he's a proper photographer. Yeah. So that definitely helps.
And it's always so professional, man. You know, like everyone's there to do a job, and everyone's there for like a specific outcome, you know? And so, yeah, but it's cool, man. Like you end up making really like, you know, friends. Everyone just becomes mates, and by the end of the day, it's like, oh, see you soon. Yeah. You know, like, yeah.
I think it's funny, unless you've been in the creative industry and been on these shoots, like all my friends from back, I'm from Victoria originally, and they'll see these like bikini shoots or shoots in the studio, and they're like, oh my God, like all these girls or whatever. And then you're actually in that environment, and like you said, it's very professional. It's a work environment, but them looking from the outside probably thinks we're making out with the girls in between shoots. Like it's stuff like they see that and they like sexualize it so much. But then when you're actually on a shoot, you're focused on the photos, the girls are focused on the poses, the person directing it's focused on the looks, and it's like everyone's so focused on what they're doing. There's like that element's not created, but people just see a girl wearing a bikini and they kind of come up in their own head of what it's like. Yeah. And until you've like been in the world and seen it, you can kind of come up to your own story. Because it was was funny. I was seeing a girl for a little bit, and she was in the creative industry, and she would always get excited about like seeing shoots we've been doing and all that because she understood.
Yeah.
But then I always think about someone who's not in that world would see it, and even they might see it and go like there could be a bit of jealousy that could be brought up through that I guess you've got to be somewhat conscious of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I think about that more now. Like a friend's got a swimwear brand, and I went and shot it with a friend, and it's like, if I was seeing a girl and just say she was going to gyms all the time, taking photos of like muscly guys, like how would that make me feel?
Mm-hmm.
And like I know because I'm in that world that I would understand, but for someone who's not, it might be, you know what I mean? It
Harder
might
to understand.
harder to understand and see.
Yeah.
So you were obviously with your partner the whole time through this, and she was obviously part of the reason. So I can see how that has created this really nice, like you understand it.
Yeah.
But I can just I'm just thinking for a partner that hasn't been in that world, it's kind of harder to understand what you do.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think it could be, yeah, for sure. For sure. But, you know, it comes down, yeah. I mean, like we said, it's like we're all there for a job, and, you know, it's always a real professional environment, you know.
Do you remember a specific shot that made you realize this is what I want to do? Do you have a photo in mind?
Oh, I don't know. I've got lots of favorite like photos, I think.
But is there the one? I'm just asking because I remember the photo I took that I was like, I think I want to take photos from now on.
Like, maybe, but I don't know if it was a photo for me as such, but just like the whole doing of it. Like, I remember, like, you know, watching, I don't know, you watch like fantastic photographers like Troy Frey, and like you look at that and you're like, man, I wish I could do that. I think, but as like a photo, I don't know if there's like a photo that is like, but it's more like the feeling, the doing it, the being there, the spending a day at the beach shooting, you know, like that's a pretty fucking cool work environment. But photo, I don't know if there's like a photo. I always get the catalog back and I'm always like looking through, and I've got like, you know, so many favorites, but I don't know if there's a photo, like a specific photo
that made you think.
Yeah.
Did you maybe not a photo then, but a shoot? Do you remember a shoot you were on or something that you were on where you're just like, I think I want to be a photographer. I think this could be a really cool job.
I guess just from the start, like that, you know, like from when I did that first one, that I videoed, I think from there I was like, man, this is cool. This is like, people do this, you know, like from the get go. Did
you feel like a little bit of a like imposter syndrome at
bro, still every day?
Really?
Yeah, every day. I'm like, man, am I good at this? I like my stuff, but do other people like it? You know, like, does it come across right? All the time, people ask if I can do like consulting or like, you know, walk them through things, and like that's terrifying. You know, like, yeah, I can, but am I like, you know, am I good enough to tell you, oh, hey, I think you should do it like this? Because everything in photography is also what's the, you know, like what I think's cool, someone else may not think's cool subjective. Or nice, or so everything's so subjective. So it's hard. It's hard. The colorings and the tones or something that I like, and, you know, the photo that I take that I'm like, wow, that one's sick. And then I send it to the clients and it's not in the selects, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's not. So, yeah, every day I feel imposter syndrome, I think. It's like, it's real. It's a real thing.
Where do you think that stems from, like that self-doubt of, is it good or bad?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Did you feel like growing up in New Zealand? Because I know New Zealand, like Australia, is very tall poppy and very put you down. And if you're trying to be different, it's never good enough until you kind of made it, and then everyone wants to be your friend. So
yeah. Not that I can really kind of think of. I don't know. I think maybe it's just being in like a, being in the new environment, not having done this for as long as some of the other people that have been doing it for 10 years plus. That sometimes that probably puts a bit of self-doubt in you. Yeah. Maybe it's more like that, like maybe not having done it so long and been in the industry for so long. And
yeah, but like at what year do you go, okay, this is good?
yeah, that's it, man. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, 10 years. Okay, I can say I'm good now.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I think the biggest thing, I always talk to my friends about this, about if you're happy with your art or you're happy with what you've created, why do people's opinion of that matter?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. If you're stoked on it, then it really shouldn't.
Yeah, if you've created something you're happy with.
Yeah.
It's like Rick Rubin. Do you know who Rick Rubin is? He's a music producer. He's worked with like Red Hot Chili Peppers, Adele, like really top end artist. And he talks about the whole like creating your art. That's you winning.
Yeah.
Like you putting that out, creating and putting out to the world. It's like we care so much now about what comes back. And it's like, it doesn't matter what comes back. It's what you put out. Because like you said, half's going to hate it, half's going to love it. And like people aren't going to care. And it's like, why do you take so much feedback from the people that hate it? It's like, obviously, I think when you're growing, there's going to be feedback that could be helpful. But if you put something out that you're like, this is what I want to put out. This is my style. This is what I enjoy. I like this. I like this enough to put out to the world. Fuck what people think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm pretty lucky at the moment. Like, I haven't really had any bad feedback. I don't think. Not that I'm really aware of. Not really.
Yeah, so it's like...
Yeah, and like I said, like I enjoy it. So it's cool. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Imagine if you were posting though, and just for whatever reason there was a few people that go, "Oh, these suck." Like, do something different. Like, would it really matter though?
I mean, it would probably hurt the ego a little bit, like, or hurt you a little bit, because you'd be like, "Man, I really like this." But at the end of the day, if you're stoked doing it and gives you something to work on and be proud of, and it's pretty cool.
Like most of the time with that though, man, it's like if someone, I guess, judged your work, but was someone you respected and followed, I can see how that could hurt.
Yeah.
But if it's someone that doesn't shoot photography, doesn't understand photography, and doesn't post anything, you go, well, why does your opinion matter when you're not even game enough to suit up and jump in the game? So I can see it's like, but I know, like you say, if you've got 100 nice comments and 2 mean ones, you seem to focus on the mean ones a little bit more than the nice ones. So it's just, I guess it's trying to figure that out. It's trying to, again, like I said, come back to that. Do I like this? Am I putting this out for a good reason? Am I putting this out to help my brand? Does this feel right? And then you do that, and it's just like, what comes back doesn't really matter. It's like shutting off that idea of likes and comments and engagement, and it's like, what, like that's like the marker of success now.
Yeah. It's
like, what I get back is okay, this got whatever, it's successful. And I was thinking about this the other day. I posted a reel when I was in Bali, and it started to like blow up because it was getting hate comments. So then it ended up getting more comments, more views, whatever. Ended up getting 1 million views. But I remember it's like, at what point, because I was like, I hope this gets a lot of views, because I thought it was, and I was trying to promote like being happy in Bali, more or less. And it gets like 50,000. You're like, oh, you're pumped. And then it gets 100,000. Oh my God. And then you stop caring.
Yeah. But
it still keeps going up. So it's like this whole idea, I guess, with likes, views, money, you have this idea, it's like when it gets to something, you're going to be happy. But it kind of keeps growing, but then you stop caring.
Yeah.
So I guess to this point, and it's like, oh, I'll be happy when I get to 1,000 views or 1,000 likes or 100,000 comments, like whatever it may be. Then it gets there, and now it's a week later, and you go, oh, I didn't really care about that video anymore. Yeah. I'm just going to post something else. And it's this constant thing of like feeding your ego through posting content and having people like reassure you that it's good.
Yeah.
And it comes back to, okay, at what point am I just going to post stuff that I like and not care about what people say back to that?
Well, was it like, that reminds me, was it like Bob Marley or someone who had, I don't know who it is, but, and they said that like numbers keep growing, numbers always go up. So it's really hard to like, if you get to this amount of numbers, and you're like, but you want this amount now. So like, and I guess that's that thing, right? With, you know, you think, oh, it'd be really cool to get 1,000 likes. Those guys are pretty, but they might want 10,000. You know, like, so I guess it's that same.
Well, I'd say that'd be with your photos, I guess, with even people you'd want to work with. And then you work with those people, and then your expectation to work with a model that might have 100,000 followers or 1,000,000 followers, and you kind of a brand that's globally known. And it's like, once you've done that, you kind of don't want to go back to like the backyard job. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're always wanting to do better and do more. But at what point are you going, am I still enjoying what I'm doing? Or am I just doing it for like ego and clout and money, more or less?
Yeah.
Have you kind of felt that as you've grown as a photographer as well, that like you kind of don't want to go backwards, but then you're always, it's not a bad thing to strive for more, but at what point do you go, am I still happy doing this, and am I kind of lost sight of why I started doing it?
I think I'll always be, at this stage, I think I'll always be pretty like amazed that I get to do it for a job. I think it's pretty cool, eh? In terms of like, I don't know how you'd go backwards as such if you're still doing the thing, you know, like if you're taking the photos and you're out there and you're working, and I feel like it would be hard to go backwards unless I feel like, you know, you dropped off and you know, weren't taking any photos. That is maybe going backwards. But if you're still out there and you're still putting yourself out there and taking photos and enjoying it, and you're still moving forward, right? I guess.
How do you go with like all your branding and trying to get more jobs? Is that just constantly posting, or is your fiance reaching out to people, or are they reaching out to you? Like, how's that process work?
A lot of the time they'll reach out to us. We do a lot of sort of outreach and stuff, or my fiance does a lot of outreach. And I guess that's just like cold calling. You know, you can message 1,000 people, and maybe one person might be like, oh yeah, I like your stuff, but we're not shooting yet, or we're shooting later, and you're like, oh, okay, that's a bummer. You know, like you kind of get really excited, but a lot of them, you know, who I've been working with have probably reached out to us, and I think that's when you know that people are more like serious about booking in the shoot, or, you know, doing the thing. But I feel like cold calling essentially is still like really important, you know, like reaching out to people, trying to have some sort of a conversation, or is still really important.
Sell yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It probably works well because your fiance is more selling you.
Yeah.
Or like obviously herself as well, because it's a package. But you know,
Yeah.
when you're trying to promote someone else, like
It's
easy.
probably easier, you know, like, yeah. Because it's always hard talking yourself up, eh?
Well, it comes back to the self-doubt.
Yeah.
And how you said before, like every day you kind of question what you're doing, or whether you're good at it. But then, like, imagine, okay, if I asked you, how good's your fiance at scheduling and organizing mood boards?
Amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah. So it's funny. It's like how you talk about your partner or your friends should be exact representation of how you should talk about yourself.
For sure.
But we don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
I guess it's hard, eh?
Well, it shouldn't be.
I know.
It shouldn't be. Especially when you have like such a big resume of content that you've put out there that people obviously like and want you to keep working with them because of it.
Yeah.
But we all think that we're not as good as we are.
Yeah. I guess probably social media does a good job of that, you know, like, because you're always comparing yourself, you know? So, like, I could look at, you know, the photographers I follow, and I'm like, oh, man, they're doing, like, more shoots than me. Or, you know, oh, man, they get to shoot, like, overseas somewhere, or they get to do this or that, or, you know? So maybe it could be a bit of that.
Yeah, seeing someone else.
Yeah. Comparing.
Yeah, who's your biggest inspiration, or someone that you would compare to that goes, oh, I wish I was that?
Oh, I feel like I draw inspiration from a lot, eh? There's a photographer, Cameron Hummin.
Oh, yeah, no.
Who's, like, incredible. Troy, local dude, he's incredible. His stuff's cool, very cool. There's a bunch. There's a bunch of people that are just like so creative and cool and
just shoot differently,
yeah,
have their own style.
Yeah.
How hard do you think that is to create your own style?
I feel like it takes a bit of time, not necessarily, like, I feel like you always kind of know what you like, but trying to put that on every shoot, you know, like getting to the stage where, you know, one shoot is different than the other shoot, but if you put them in a book, you'd know it was the same photographer just by either like your tones or your composition or whatever it may be. And I feel like that is the thing that just takes like a little bit of just fine tuning. And it's just fine tuning like every shoot, you know, and like then you get to a stage and you're like, oh, look, I really like the skin tones, and you could try and match them up and yeah.
How long is that process? Do you kind of make LUTs, like your own custom LUTs that you put over and then fine tune, or do you just kind of from the ground up?
Definitely like, what do you do? Can be a lot, you know. You can start by, you know, if you've brought presets or whatever that you like, and you start using them, and then you're always tweaking, you know, and it'll start as A, but it will end as like, you know, whatever it is, it could be completely different. Like if you compare the preset that you brought to the preset that it is now with all your little tweaks, they can be quite different.
Would you make presets and sell them, or do you make presets and sell them?
I don't, and I didn't really think about it until like recently when I had it on. I put it on like my story or something, like it asked me something, and someone asked me if I sold presets, and I was like, nah, I don't, but like, is that something that maybe I should do? And I had a few people being like, yeah, I'd buy them. And I was like, oh, cool, maybe I should. Maybe I should.
Was that the same question when I asked you to come on the podcast?
Yeah, yeah, it was. So
you're going to make presets, you've come on the podcast, we're about to start promoting them.
That's it. But yeah, it's just, for me at the moment, it's probably time. It's probably like finding the time, sitting down, shooting like a bunch of images and like fine tuning those and making sure, because I don't want to sell something just for the sake of selling it. You know, like I don't want to waste people's money, you know, like people work hard for their money, man. And, you know, if you're selling a product or you're selling something, you want it to be good for them. You want them to be stoked on it. You want it to be able to work over a variety. And like, I want to be able to tell them how it works really well. You know, should you be shooting a little bit more underexposed because X, Y, and Z happens if you do that. And when you apply the preset, you know, so just figuring all those things out and like really making it easier for the photographer to be able to get the outcomes that they want.
Do you find as well though, if you created presets and then a lot of similar work would come out to you, is that something that you would be conscious of?
Maybe, but I don't really mind. I mean, everyone sees something different, you know, and like I said to you before, you could buy a preset, it starts here and ends here. So, you know, like they could buy my preset and my preset might be focused on being cooler, for example, and they might like, you know, all the bits and pieces, but then they put it on their image and they make it way warmer, for an example. So, and you know, I guess it's the same as like you look at like music. There's a lot of, I don't know, singers or whatever out there, but there's always room for more, you know, so could it end up the same as mine? Possibly. But could people do the same as mine now? Possibly. Could people think that, you know, mine looks very similar to something that I've shot? Possibly. You know, like it I don't know.
There's such a broad range.
Yeah. Quite possibly. But it's okay.
Do you shoot much on film?
No. I'm probably someone who doesn't I don't use film, I don't.
Is there any part of you that wants to?
Not really.
Why is that?
It's just so expensive, man. And like with digital, I like the fact that I can take a photo, look at it, be like, I want to change this.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to take a photo, you know, not know what it is, wait for the dudes to develop it, get it back, and then be like, fuck. And then get on the phone again and be like, hey, can we organise that shoot again? Because I want to get, you know. But, and it's also like, I do like it for the fact, like if I'm going to go away or if I'm going to do something, I can take my film camera and it doesn't matter, you know. My partner and my baby could be over there and running around and I could just be like, hey, take a photo, and might come back all blurry and whatever. But I don't care because, like, for me, you know, it's like that part. But if you're doing that for someone, and again, someone's paying me and I don't want that. I want to be able to look at my work and be like, oh yeah, I can adjust this.
You're not letting someone down.
Yeah, but I get it. I get that it's really nice and stuff, but I don't want to do it just because it's like, you know, a bit cool or
trendy at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
it's funny, like you said, like you don't want to wait for it to come back. But I understand if it's for yourself. I actually really like the fact if I shoot on film, and then you forget about it, and then 3 months later you get it developed, and it's like, oh, I remember. Like it's like this kind of present that you've left for yourself.
Yeah.
So I get that, but like you said, if you're actually shooting it for like a campaign or a brand, and you fuck it up, it's like, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And like I don't want to put that pressure on myself, eh? And also like, yeah, it just costs so much money. You know, like Portra 400 for a couple rolls of that.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Crazy.
And then to develop it all as well. And
yeah.
What do you shoot on? What are your main cameras?
I just shoot on a Sony A7 III. And I got that because of the video. And I liked, like at the time when I got it, it like seemed like a pretty good little kind of versatile camera where I could take a couple photos and then switch over to video and get 4K or, you know, get some video and that, yeah, so that's what I use. But I really like Sony, eh? I don't know if I'd go to any other, like, brand or...
So I think, what lenses as well do you normally shoot on? It's a go-to.
I've been shooting on a 24-70, and then I've just recently, for the last couple campaigns I went back to 35. I really like the zoom lens because it's just good. You know, I can stand over here and get detailed shots, where on my 35, like I was doing a shoot the other day and I had my 35, so it's like a really, you know, quite wide frame, and I was trying to get details and I was just looking through my viewfinder and I had no, like, the outside world. It was just what I was seeing through my lens, and I was trying to get these details, and I was talking to the model, and then I pulled my camera away and I was so close, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so close to you. I just had no, like, and we were all kind of laughing about it, but like, that was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. But yeah, that's kind of the main two that I shoot on. I don't really shoot too far from that.
Do you find much of a difference with the prime lens compared to the zoom lens?
I don't really know. I guess like the 35, I feel like the 35 gives a real kind of like cinematic sort of look, you know. The zooms, I like the zooms for the fact that I can just stand here and I can get a variety of different things. And I don't have to be all up in someone's face.
Yeah, I get you.
But yeah, that's what I'm using. That's what I'm liking. I've got a 50mm, but I don't use it a heap at the moment. It's kind of just in the bag.
Just there.
If I need it.
I would recommend trying out an 85.
Oh yeah?
I got one. It was actually funny, man. I was in an airport in Sydney, and I just got this little shitty ZVE camera. ZVE? I think it's an EVE. Yeah, it's like a Sony. Just like, you know when you kind of have no idea what you're buying, but I was like, I'll just get a cheap camera. I started taking some photos, some videos. I want to start vlogging with it. And I went to the airport and I had no idea what to buy. And there was just it was like the cheapest lens there was an 85 prime.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just get that. And I put it on the camera, and because it wasn't a full frame thing, it like obviously crops it in even more. So it turned out to be like 100 kind of mil lens. And it turned out, I don't know why, but just like the shots I got with it, I quickly got this. I had that camera and then only had it for probably like 2 months and realized I wanted something better. So I got an A7 IV, and then put the lens on it. But it's probably, you know, when you had some of your favorite photos come from a certain lens,
Yeah.
something about the depth it has and everything. But it was just, yeah, it was, I don't know, for whatever reason, the 85, yeah, is a really, really cool lens to use. So
Nice.
you know, you can add that to the repertoire.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I know what you mean about it. Sometimes it does get annoying when you have to like move so much. You end up running around on set.
Oh,
where if
honestly, man, so much. And it's so funny, just like even your movements like up and down, like you're squatting and like you're like almost doing like not quite burpees, you're not jumping, but you know, like you're down and then you're up and then you're down. Like I swear if someone was like videoing, have you seen those videos of like, you know, like the people taking photos of models and stuff on the beach and people are videoing them?
Yeah.
And yeah, I swear you just get into some of the most funny like little situations that you're in, eh?
Have you ever felt that like when you've been on a shoot, like people kind of, you see people watching or videoing or being a part?
Absolutely.
How does that feel?
I don't mind. I don't mind for me as such, but I'm always trying to think about how like the like model feels, and you know, like you're always kind of saying, you know, if it doesn't feel right, just let us know. For me, I don't really mind. I'm like, you know, we're all there doing a job, like I said earlier.
Has there ever been something weird happen or someone like come into the shot or set or something like that? Like,
no, not really. But I could imagine there would be some weird stories out there.
or just someone, like if someone thinks they know you or something, come up and you're like, I'm kind of working, bro.
Not really. I mean, like I was shooting. It was a shoot recently, and we were kind of like out on the street, and so like, you know, people were walking past, and you kind of pause for people, but it was a swim shoot, and like there was just like people just sit down and watch, and you're like, I can't really like, you know, you can't say please don't, or you know, like you're just in the street, like what do you expect a little bit, you know, but you know, everyone was real cool and no one was disrespectful or anything,
yeah, but still,
you know,
it's kind of
like,
wild if you're seeing someone on a photo shoot doing a bikini shoot in public and you're like, I'm just gonna like
sit down and watch and eat my ice cream. And I'm like, dude, come on. Man.
Oh man! You know what I saw the other day? You know the Esplanade in Burleigh?
Yeah.
I saw just two guys got camp chairs and set up like on a bit of the corner where it goes up to North Burleigh, and they're just sitting there just watching people. And I'm like, fair enough, but also kind of weird. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like, surely you've got to be conscious that they're working and they're trying to like feel as comfortable as possible. If you're just sitting on a chair watching, it's like, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, a little bit. But then you kind of just get what you need and you move on.
Get out of there,
yeah.
I was going to ask you, what does the word collab mean when I say it to you? What does that trigger any emotions?
Collab, to me, collab is like, I guess like a collaboration, you know, or, you know, you collaborate with people. So like, you know, you might both have an idea, like if you do like a creative shoot, and you know, you do it with a model and whatnot. The only time that frustrates me is when you do something like that and then other people use it for, like, I guess, marketing purposes or something, and you're like, man, we kind of just did this from like for the fun of it.
Yeah.
But then, you know, at the same time, like Instagram and stuff, I don't mind. That's fine. But if it's like generating money, I feel like that sometimes gets a bit cheeky. But also, like, what are you gonna do? You know, like you kind of just have to smile and wave, and you know, like I try and think it's kind of cool that they're using this stuff.
It's triggering to me now. Since opening the studio, the amount of times people be like, oh, can we just collab and like post some stories and stuff? And I was just like, yeah, like my bills are paid with collabs. And I understand that like people with influence do bring eyes to your brand and your business. I get it. But it's just when people want to do collabs and like, you know, they have a lot of money, you know, they're killing it. And it's like, wouldn't you just pay, like, it's not that much, and then talk about, like, once you've paid, like, then be like, oh, hey, like, this is really cool. Can we maybe work out a deal in the future? I'd be much more willing to help someone that's, like, actually spent money than just kind of asking for, like, a freebie from the start.
Yeah.
And then more times than not, like, people will promise you the world and then you'll get nothing in return.
Yeah.
So I think it's being very conscious of being like, oh, I'll collab with you, but this is what I expect.
I guess, like, in the photography world, or, like, from my experience, you know, like, for collabing and stuff, we kind of, I guess, I kind of say, like, if I'm approaching someone and I want to, you know, work with a model or work with someone, we usually say more like creative shoot. So we might have, like, a creative vision, and then, like, they get the images, we get the images. Hopefully everyone's happy. Hopefully, you know, if we've got brands on board, maybe they can have the images if that's okay with, you know, the model and everything. But it usually works out okay. It's just, it's cheeky if you're doing something and then you don't know that someone's going to use the images for something, and then you end up seeing them somewhere else, and you're like, oh.
How many times does that happen?
Not heaps. Not heaps. A couple times, but again, what do you do?
Did you say anything to them, like, or you just left it?
Nah, I just leave it. I don't.
Was it a big brand?
I've yeah, yes and yes. There has been brands that have done it, but there's also been, like, smaller ones that have done it. And, like, I don't, you know, you like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, did they do it, like, knowing that they were being a bit cheeky, or were they just, like, a little bit, like, naive, where they're like, oh, you know, they won't mind, like, we gave them the product, or we did this, or we did this.
Yeah, but the product's not given to you, it's given to the model.
Yeah.
So it's like the model gets at least something out of it, and then what are you getting back is, like, do they tag you, or they do anything, like, to try and promote you as a photographer?
Yeah, most people do, like, tag. Most people are good with that.
Yeah.
Most people are good with that.
It's still kind of cheeky, especially if it's run as an ad or, like you said, for a business.
Yeah.
And then it's like, shot by this person. I'm like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Because I guess, have you found it hard, especially now with how there are so many people that can kind of take okay photos, that people have kind of lost the value in, like, proper photographers in a way?
Maybe, eh?
You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Maybe. I guess everyone's got a pretty fucking good camera in their pocket, right? And, like, most people, I think, like to think that they can take good photos, and most people do take pretty good photos these days. I think, has it, like, I don't know if it really, like, I think this is the same thing as I was saying before, like, you know, there's always, like, music, but there's always room for other musicians and whatever to come through. I think it's the same, you know, like, I think there's always room for more people, and it's cool because you can, like, you can bounce off each other and you can do all these things as well, which is cool.
How do you feel with, like, the future of it, though? Because that gap's going to keep getting smaller. Like, how many years until your iPhone has the same quality as your camera has now?
Jeez, I don't know. Doesn't the new iPhone shoot RAW?
I think, yeah, it does.
So
they filmed, like, a full ad.
Yeah, and like shoot, like, and they video full, like, S-Log and stuff now, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's there.
But it's just, okay, this is the thing that is going to blow my mind is, like, obviously you still need to edit it and do all this work, but with AI, the way it's going, you're going to be able to film off your iPhone in the best quality possible, put that into an AI and say, edit like this person. Like, find someone you like and say, copy this person's editing style, make it look like a documentary, make it look like an ad, make it look like whatever, and it's going to produce it in 5 minutes less.
I feel like you'd still need some human element to it, though.
Until when, though?
I don't know.
Like, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Now it's like you need a prompt ChatGPT or whatever it is, but there's going to be a point when you just tell it what you want and it will produce it even better than you would expect.
But do you think people had the same thought about, like, the Adobe suite?
How do you mean?
When that first started? You know, like, this is how I think it's gonna. I think there's always gonna be some kind of human element to it. I think it's gonna end up being, and I could be so wrong. This is just what I personally think, but I think it could be, like Adobe. Anyone can use it. Anyone can do anything, but I think there'll be like people that use it well. Like Photoshop or Illustrator, all those things, and I think like people will be able to use all the AI things, but I think it'll become like a tool like more Adobe, like the suites there where like I feel like you can go like as deep with it and be as good with it as you want to be able to use the tool. Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying, but and I hope that there's a human element because I feel like that's what art should be, is like created by humans. But if just say you put in every single photo that you've ever taken and you said, this is my style, I want to continue with this style, produce these photos, edit these photos. And like, I can't imagine they wouldn't look exactly how you would edit it.
Yeah, and maybe it will. Maybe that's how it does go. But then we'll like, like how like film and stuff, if people are going back around into film, will that turn around and, be like, oh, whoa, you edit still? Maybe.
Yeah, it gets recycled back again, yeah.
Maybe, eh?
Yeah, it's like you do it. Yeah, man. It's like, have you seen iRobot?
Oh, yeah,
like
but not for a very long time.
The whole idea, like when he's driving, and they're like, oh, you're actually driving? Because obviously all the cars drive for themselves. It's like you said, it's like going back and doing things that we see as just normal everyday life, whether it be in the creative industry or real life. It's like, is that going to be like a novelty that you do because like you're like a bit of a hipster and you're a bit different?
Yeah.
It's like, you still edit on Lightroom? You don't get your AI bot to do it for you? Like that takes so long. It's like you get film and you've got to go develop it. That takes so long. It's like, what is the progression of that?
Don't know. I don't know where that's going. It's pretty crazy
to think. Yeah, that's where it's going. But because even now, like there's obviously already software where you can upload videos or photos, and it produces reels and stuff for you in like 2 seconds. So I'm like, that's like we're definitely at the infant stage of that. But at what point and how quick is that going to grow to a point where, like I said, you can prompt it and it will create exactly what you want within 3, 4, 5 minutes.
I guess you still have to maybe go and take the photos though,
that
right?
as well, yeah.
So, who knows? I don't know.
Because that's one thing, like, do you, like, you would obviously enjoy shooting the photos a lot more than you would editing them.
I like editing, dude. I love editing. Hey.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I like editing. I find editing, like, I find it quite fun and, like, quite a, yeah, I like messing with them. I like, I enjoy it. I do enjoy the editing process.
I need to send you all my photos then because I like shooting all day, 100%, but the editing part, I will enjoy it for a certain amount of time, and then it just gets to a point where I'm like, nah, I've looked at these photos too often. Like, and do you ever do a thing where you will edit something and then come back to it and be like, what the fuck was I doing, man? And then you've got to change it again, or do you feel like you're pretty good off the bat?
I feel like I recently did that once, and I can't remember what it was with, but I did a shoot and I edited like some of it, and I knew I wasn't like quite happy with it, and I was like, it just feels like it's missing some sort of, I don't know, life, depth, something. And that was kind of the time where I walked away from it, came back, and then was like, tweaking everything again. I was like, that's better. But I feel like most of the time I'm usually able to, like, within the first probably like 3, 4 photos, understand where I want to take the edit usually.
Do you feel like you try and tell a story with your photos, or like create a feeling through that?
I like to try. I do like to try and tell a story.
And each one be just different.
Yeah.
How much do you think that plays with the location and everything else and like props, and obviously with your fiance, do you guys plan that, like, this is what we want to create, the feeling, the story, and you guys work together to build that?
I think so. Like, often, if we're doing a shoot, usually it ends up at the beach, and a lot of the time if we're doing location, when you shoot it, kind of naturally, because when you go like, to somewhere and, you know, the people are getting hair and makeup, or, you know, you kind of have somewhere where you meet. And usually that kind of becomes that, like, that's kind of where your first location is. So then you kind of tell a story almost from, okay, we were here, and then we, like, you know, might have done here, and there might have been somewhere kind of cool outside, and that kind of looks like you've done that, and then gone outside, and then you've ended up at the beach. So I think it does sort of tell a story. I like to try and, I always like to give that kind of, like, I guess that holiday, you know, that feeling when you go on holiday and you have like I don't know, your first like drink or something, and you're like, oh, and it's that like relaxed holiday, kind of no worries feeling anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's what I like to try and portray, whether that is how it comes out, but that's what
That's
I
what
like
you want, that feeling.
Yeah, that like, oh, like carefree, down the beach, whatever, you know, like.
Just relax, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm going to ask you, what would be the biggest advice you'd give to someone who's a creative that wants to get into photography or videography? Like, to start, what would you tell them?
Do the thing. Like, you know, like, go and do the thing. Go and take the photo, take the video, edit the video. Even if you don't share it, or share it, whatever. But, you know, like, going and doing the thing, take the first steps, you know. Try and make a mood board. Once you have a mood board plan, you know, like, what's the next step? You need whatever you're going to shoot, go and shoot it. And then, you know, like, just go through the motions. Go through, do the thing, because it's easy to look at everything, but, like, to create the thing and put the effort in to create the thing sometimes feels hard, you know. Sometimes it's, like, kind of a daunting feeling, you know, like, and you might start and you get real, like, pumped, and you're like, yeah, I want to do this. But then you kind of, like, you know, that might give 10 minutes and it might kind of fizzle out a bit and you kind of lose the motivation. But, like, do the thing. Go and take the photos, bring them home, upload them, pick your 10 favourites or whatever and edit them, and, yeah, do the thing. That's the, like, advice I'd give is, like, yeah, pick up your camera, whether it be your phone or an actual camera, and take the photos. It's always a good start.
And try and take different photos as well.
Yeah. You know, like, yeah. And I guess that comes down to mood boarding as well. Have an idea of, like, whether you're shooting someone, like poses that you like, or, you know, scenes. It might just be as simple as being down the beach, or, yeah. Get a mood board together, take the photos. Get whoever it is. Yeah.
I read this thing, and it was talking about they gave students a task to take their best photo.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many students it was, but half of them could take as many photos as they wanted, and the other half could only take 20 or 30 or something. It was a smaller amount. Everyone that could take as many photos as they wanted got way better photos.
Yeah.
Because they kind of, that repetition and constant, like, trying new things and shooting different things, you kind of, that's where the growth comes from.
Yeah.
And I think back to when I first started shooting photos, and I had, again, no idea what I was doing. I went on YouTube a little bit, watched some tutorials, but mainly it was kind of just like, make it up as you go.
Yeah.
And I look back at some of the photos and I'm like, oh man, I was way too much vibrance, too much whatever. And you just got to kind of keep that repetition going. Like you said, just do it. Just start and you will get better.
Yeah.
And obviously try and figure out what your style is, and then look at the people that you like and then go, well, how are they making that happen?
Yeah.
And what are they doing to make that happen?
Yeah.
And just by doing that, you'll kind of, like, I always tell people, it's like, if you want to get better at something, just attach yourself to someone that is doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
And, like, unconsciously and consciously, you will kind of put yourself in that path that they're on, and kind of, it's not like not so much copying someone, but, like, if you see a style you like and how they shoot, like, you can grab inspiration from that and bring it to your own. For
sure.
Without 100% just, like, stealing exactly what that is.
Yeah.
And it's, like, kind of flattery. It's like, if you see someone's work you like, it's like, I want to replicate that in my own work.
Yeah.
I think I asked you before about, like, inspiration, but did you have someone that you kind of, not like that you kind of want to replicate when you started shooting?
Well, I mean, like I said, like, I always looked up to Troy.
Do you know his last name? Troy?
Frey?
Troy Frey.
Frey? Sorry, Troy, if that's not how you say it. But yeah, I think Troy Frey.
And he's a local guy, Gold Coast.
Yeah, yeah. And he's just incredible, dude. He's such a nice dude. He's got, like time for people, and he's fucking incredible at what he does. But like, yeah, watching him work and like seeing his stuff, that definitely made me be like, man, I wish I could do that. That's cool.
And there you are, and you're still
Yeah.
What would be your goal now? Is to like travel overseas and do more shoots in different locations like that? And
what would be my goal? Just to keep going, keep doing it. Like going overseas, that would be sick. That would be very cool. But to be able to keep doing it and to be able to like, that would be pretty cool too.
You seem pretty content with this lifestyle.
It's nice, man. It's good. I feel very blessed. Like being able to work with my fiance and like work so well with her. Like that's pretty like incredible in itself. It's pretty, very blessed. Very blessed.
No, that's cool to hear, because it's so often people want to make money so they can go and be free and relax and then do what they want to do. But it's like, if you're saying like your work is with someone you love, doing something you love with cool people in cool places, it's like you get pretty
cool.
Get pretty content with that lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely very lucky. Definitely.
Did you know straight away when you guys met that you just knew that was going to kind of be the path that you were going down, or was there a bit of work to kind of get it to where it is now?
I don't know if we necessarily knew that was what we were like going to do together. Like it definitely happened pretty quickly that we were like, let's do this. But I don't know if it was like straight away where we were like, but it was definitely pretty quick. So maybe yes, maybe in some people's like eyes, yes. But, like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe we did. We definitely knew pretty quickly when we started doing it together, and it was, yeah.
Because how long have you been shooting?
Man.
Together and?
Like, I think it's like, maybe like 2.5 years.
So you're pretty fresh to the whole scene.
Yeah. I guess that's
where the self-doubt comes in, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, it hasn't been long. Not at all. Not long at all.
So we're gonna get to like what's the year? Let's just pick a year randomly, whatever you think. When's the year gonna be like, all right,
man, maybe,
I'm here?
Maybe 10.
10's
like, I don't know, what is it that you have to put in? Is 10, it like 10,000 hours?
Yeah.
Like, that'll take a while.
I think as well, when you said that, it was funny because even when I was competing racing mountain bikes, like I did that for 17 years.
Yeah.
And that self-doubt doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And it's like the only way you can quiet it is by like outworking it.
Yeah. Being prepared.
Being prepared, yeah. It's like that's the only way you turn the volume down on that. Like, am I good enough?
Yeah.
Can I do this? It's like, I think it's good in a way to not doubt your ability, but question it.
Yeah. And
know that the more work you put in, the quieter you make that little voice in the back of your head that says, am I good enough? Can I do this? And it changes to go, I can do this. Of course I can do this. Look at this. Look at how much work I've put in. Look at how much effort I've put into this thing. It's like there's so much questioning you can do, but if you kind of like flip over every stone and put all the work you should do into it, it's like my friend talked about like nerves, like nervousness and excitement are the exact same feeling. The only way you get to experience excitement over nerves is if you put the work in. Like that's the only thing that changes what that feeling actually means to you. So it's like the more work you put in, the more reps you put in, the more effort you put in, that noise gets switched to excitement. And it's way better to be excited at a shoot or at an event or at whatever it is you're doing, but it just comes to the preparation you've actually put into it.
For sure.
But it's when you said that self-doubt, I thought about like even in my, like every year you kind of have that nerve going in. And I remember I'd go into the first race every year overseas and you kind of like, am I still fast? Am I still good enough? And then I'd get a good result or something and be like, okay, we're still good.
Yeah.
But that self-doubt would always kind of be somewhat lingering. And I think one of my friends told me the act of confidence No, the feeling of confidence needs to become. Wait, I'm messing this up now. What is it? It's like the act of confidence needs to become before the feeling of confidence. So it's like you need to be confident before you actually are confident.
Yeah.
So it's like if you can portray that, even if deep down you're not feeling it, you act like you are, and then you are, and then people see that, and then you actually do become confident.
You are yeah.
Yeah. So sorry that took so long to get out properly, but yeah, it's just funny with like if you're on a shoot, if you act confident and like own it, the model, the people around you, the brand is probably going to be like, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then on the inside, you could be like, fuck, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But
I like funny that I always describe myself as like, I feel like I'm a duck on water. Like, so usually people are like, oh, you're pretty calm and like cool. And, you know, like ducks on water, they're always like real calm, but you don't see their legs, and their legs are like fucking going for it, you know? Like, I feel like that's how I am on the inside. I'm always like, my mind's like, phew. But I feel like I can be calm in a situation. Maybe.
But you're feeling it.
But I'm feeling it.
But how
You're always feeling it.
I was going to say, how often in situations would everyone be feeling that? It's like they look confident on top, but like even like the model or the stylist or the brand manager, it's like...
Yeah, I mean, probably most of the time, especially when you're shooting with a new crew of people, you know, if you don't know the model, you don't know the... You know, you haven't met the people that are doing the, you know, that are looking after the shoot. You don't know the hair and makeup. So you're walking in. But I guess that comes to nerves of not knowing people. It's like walking into a massive room of people and you're like, hey, and you got to introduce yourself to everyone, you know. But I think we're lucky in the creative industry because everyone kind of brushes those feelings away pretty quickly once you kind of introduce yourself and you know everyone. Usually chat kind of flows and
it gets going.
Usually.
But even if you said to me, like, when you got here, like, oh, I'm nervous to come and do this podcast. But if you'd never said that, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So it's funny how sometimes you almost like need to project it like that feeling. But like if you just come in and sat down and have done what you've done, it's like I wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Because like again, you just do the thing and no one knows.
Yeah.
It's like no one sees what's on the inside, and if you just come and like put on a front and be the best version of who you can be, then it doesn't really matter what's on the inside if it doesn't come through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got a few more. I always ask these questions at the end of the podcast.
Okay.
But if you could go back and give yourself some advice in life in general, what advice would you give to yourself?
Ooh. Just make sure you have fun. Have fun with it. If you're doing something, you know, make sure you're smiling, you're getting up, you're happy to go and do what you're going to do.
Have you had a point when you weren't being that person or weren't having fun or smiling? And
I guess I got to a stage with making coffee where that felt pretty mundane and you're just kind of going through the motions. But it's funny as well because the grass is always greener. So when you get in those situations, you're always like, oh, I wish I was doing this, or I wish I worked here, but the grass is always greener, you know? Yeah, but yeah, that's the advice I'd give to myself though, is just have fun doing it. It's usually not as bad as what you're thinking. Enjoy it.
And how often do you look back at something you thought you didn't enjoy and then you look back and you miss it?
Yeah, I guess, But then what? I don't really know. I don't really think I do too much different. You know, I still enjoy coffee, shooting, still like going for a surf every now and then. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of still doing the things that I thought I enjoyed, you know?
I guess it's how much of it. Because I always think back at like school or certain things with my family.
Yeah.
And I remember being in those moments and thinking, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. And I look back now and I'm like, man, that was a good time.
Cool.
Yeah. That trip was awesome. But in the moment, like I might want to be with my friends. I might want to be in someone else. And it's like, how often do you, especially as a kid, it's hard to understand like time. Yeah. And you're not going to get it back. And I always think when I'm in like a shitty mood now, or like things aren't going right, or I'm just not quite as happy as I could be, that I'm going to look back right now in a year, 2 years, 5 years, however long it might be, and be like, dude, you wasted that fucking time when you were healthy, fit, young, in a cool place around cool people, and you were bummed because of some shit that doesn't even matter now.
Yeah.
And it like kind of puts you back in like perspective. It's like, you can be happy now. Like
Yeah.
you control how you feel at any time. And it like kind of, I catch myself and I just look back at other points in my life where I was like, man, I was bummed there and it was over this girl or over this situation or over something. And I look at it now as like being so stupid. But then like you can always look at what you're going through as a negative as just being stupid and just like, it's fine. Get over it. Look at the positives.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought about that when you said just have fun because you can do that.
Yeah.
And I ask you, what are you scared of?
For sharks.
Have you ever seen one when you're surfing?
Nah. Oh, one time in New Zealand, it was only a little wee shark, but it grabbed, like we were out at a place and it grabbed like a guy's flipper. And I saw it thrash on the water. But other than that, I haven't seen one here, but I don't really want to.
True.
But yeah, sharks are terrifying. Sharks are
just the unknown of what's coming up and then get you.
So scary.
It's funny. I've got a friend that actually got attacked by a shark when he was 12.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's funny because everyone overseas, because we'd race bikes together, and everyone knew that he got attacked by a shark, and everyone thinks everyone in Australia has been like attacked by a shark.
Yeah.
It's just like that common thing. It's like, oh man, I only know like 4 Australian, like people from overseas, but I only know a few Australians, and one of them has been attacked by a shark, so it must be super common. And he's just like, no, it was just very unlucky.
Yeah, they're terrifying. They're so scary.
So that's the thing. It's just like
but
top of the list.
I've always thought like maybe if I like swam with them or did something and like, you know, like with someone who was like knew what they were doing, I was like maybe that might like get rid of the fear. And snakes. I'm so scared of snakes. Snakes and sharks.
Have you ever held a snake?
Oh, when I was younger, I did at like one of the zoos. But
what was the feeling it created?
Oh, at the time I didn't. I feel like it's got worse as I've got older. Like now, if I saw one, I'd be like I don't mind looking at them, but like I wouldn't want to be in like a vicinity where we could touch each other.
Yeah. Do you feel though like part of like the point of life is to understand the fears and try and beat them? Like you said, you want to go swimming, so it's like you consciously want to try and beat it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe you do like need to beat them because otherwise they hold you back. But like I try because I still surf, but I wouldn't swim out as far as where I'd paddle on my board. For some reason my board gives me a sense of safety.
Really?
Yeah, but I wouldn't swim out to where I would surf.
True.
Nah.
Have you ever had a fear when like starting up something like with the business and anything like that it would fail? Like a fear of not being successful?
Yeah. I like, you know, like still I think like I said before, you know, like I guess that self-doubt thing. Like you're always chasing to be better. Yeah, there's always like scares that like, you know, is it going to be the same or hopefully better in, you know, 5 years or 2 years or next year? It's pretty uncertain, and you know when you're in the creative, it's a hard sort of industry I think to be in. But it's exciting.
Like you don't want to become complacent.
Nah, not at all.
But then you also want to be confident in yourself. It's balancing those two things.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, definitely like fear of failing. Can't speak. Failure. Yeah, for sure. True. Definitely.
What's something that you're not doing that you are consciously know that you're not doing that you should be doing?
Advertising. Is that well?
Yeah.
Is that an okay answer?
Yeah, that's perfect. Why do you think that is?
I just think if I was advertising, I'd be reaching more people.
Yeah, but why do you think you're not doing it?
I don't know, because I mean we actually have set it all up, and I just need to push the publish button. We just did that maybe yesterday or the day before.
Why haven't you pressed it?
My account, because of what I shoot, it always gets flagged. So I had a couple things flagged. So we set it all up, went to push publish, but it was like my account was flagged and I couldn't advertise on the Meta platforms yet. But I think I've resolved it. I think.
But are you nervous about pressing it because it could happen again, or because?
No, I not nervous about it at all. I just haven't got around to it yet. In all honesty.
So when you get home today, you're just gonna press that first thing you
when
do.
I turn on the computer, I'm gonna clock in, push the publish button,
and everyone listening is gonna go and check it out
and
as well.
gonna see, oh my gosh, look, he's got ads running now.
Perfect.
What is something that I am not doing? I want to say something like really good, but I can't think of anything. I'm trying really hard to like be the best version of myself. And there's a lot of things that I've like changed. So yeah, that's something I'm pretty stoked on.
Yeah. Just being more conscious and looking after yourself.
Yeah.
Growing yourself.
Yeah. Quit smoking. Trying to clean up my diet. And just be like an all round nice person to everyone. Give everyone,
It's all momentum, man.
Yeah.
It's one thing I'm noticing is like it's not hard to change your life in a positive way. It just takes a lot of little steps in the right direction.
For sure.
And I think people look at this idea of being fitter, healthier, happier, more desirable, all these different things. And I think it's this massive leap in a certain direction. And it's like, nah, you just need little steps every day.
Yeah.
It's like little things in your routine, your diet, your friend circle, your relationships, everything. It's just like, okay, how do I do a little step in the right direction each day? And then you start to build momentum by doing those things, and then everything becomes easier. Like everything's going to seem harder at the start. And like once you kind of like start stacking good days, start stacking momentum, start stacking these things, it's like, oh shit, I'm healthier, I'm happier, I'm fitter. All these things have just come from each day showing up in a little way. And I always think it's like when you set your alarm early in the morning, it's like, it's not that hard just to get up, but it's so easy to sleep in.
Yeah.
And it's like once you start to kind of just get up, it's like, okay, you've got that little bit of momentum. Okay, you're going to go to the gym. Okay, you got a little bit more momentum. You're going to meet up with like a business partner or someone that's going to help you grow another bit of momentum. It's like each one of those tasks is not hard, but you look at this all together, oh, I've got so much to do.
Yeah.
But it's like if you can
break it down, bite size.
Yeah.
For sure.
Bit by bit.
Yeah.
But I think it's like you're saying, it's like you're trying to be a better person. It's like, okay, what's one thing I can do to better myself today? And then you do that, and you're like, well, I can probably do another thing. Like I used to trick myself. I used to go in ice baths a lot. I can't talk about ice baths a lot. Can't say bath. Bath. Anyway, I would go in and I would always want to go in for 10 minutes, but that seemed like such a long time. So I'd trick myself and I'd just say, you just got to get in for 30 seconds. And then as soon as I hopped in, 30 seconds would go past. And I'm like, okay, I'll just do 5 minutes. 5 minutes would go past. I'm like, well, I'm numb now. Like my body's gone numb, so I'll just do the full 10. But it's tricking yourself into going bite-sized piece. 30 seconds is not that hard. I'll just get in and then you're in. And it's like, I think a lot of people, if you just tell yourself you're going to do less than what you are, once you actually start doing it, you'll do the full thing anyway. It's like, I don't want to go to the gym. I'll just go for 5 minutes. You get to the gym, you're like, well, I'm here now.
Yeah.
Let's do an hour. And it's like with so many different, I don't want to go for a walk. I'll just go for 5 minutes. You're always going to do more once you start the motion, but it's like tricking yourself into going like, I'm just going to take a bite-sized piece. But then by doing that, you're like, actually, I'm going to do the whole thing. So I guess, yeah, I just thought about that with what you said. It's just like, just those little bits.
Yeah, for
little
sure.
bits to better yourself. And the last question I always ask everyone is, when you are dead and gone, how do you want to be remembered by people?
Oh. Like if people can just be like, man, he was a real nice dude. He like, he was always pretty happy, or he was always like, real kind to everyone. Listened. That would be pretty nice. Yeah. People were just like, man, he was a good dude. Yes. That'd be cool.
Simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's cool the thing that you said, listened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's something a lot of people don't do.
Yeah. If you can just, well, it's something like really trying to do. you know, is like listen. Because I think it's very easy for, you know, a lot of people talk, but a lot of people sometimes don't listen. But to actually listen and be like, try and be present is cool.
Mm. Yeah, don't just wait to speak.
Yeah.
Actually hear what the person's got to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a skill, man. Even with this podcast, like I definitely got better at listening by doing this because you have to.
Yeah.
But so often I'll see people and you'll go to say something, they'll cut you off, or you'll say something and then they'll steal the conversation and steer it their direction.
Yeah.
It's like, what's this person got to say and how can I help them if they've got a problem? Or when you pause and actually let them think about it and then speak, it's like, okay, that's what you really wanted to say. You just needed the space to say it.
Yeah.
You need to feel comfortable. But, how can people find you, Jordy? Where can they find you and what exciting stuff have you got coming up?
What have we got? You can find us on Instagram. My shooting page is shot.by.jordi. And then Pointless Creative Agency. What have we got coming up? Far out. Got the new year coming up. I'm pretty excited just to have a little Christmas day off with family. That'll be exciting. I'm really, really excited for that day. This is my first Christmas with my little girl, so I'm pretty pumped on that. That's what I'm very excited about.
And you're having one day off.
Yeah. Scheduled it in. It's in the calendar. It's happening. Far out. Yeah, just keep an eye out. There's always little shoots happening. There's always, I'm always trying to be a better photographer and, work with cool crew and,
No, sick. Appreciate it. No, it's been epic, Jordy. I've loved the chat and got a lot out of it. But thanks for coming on. Have to shoot some photos sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
No, not a worry. I'll throw all your stuff in the description as well. So if people want to find Jordy and shoot some photos, check the description and get some shots happening.
Happy days.
Cheers,
Thank
brother.
you.
Appreciate you.
Cheers, bro.
Sick.